Welcome back to another episode of Growing Your Victory Garden. I'm Ashley Mariani with PittMoss, and I'm here with Doug Oster. And today we are doing some more cold cropping, and we're going from the fancy coverings that you could do here to the really cheap and maybe unexpected ways you can protect your plants from frost this season.
It's like me, cheap and unexpected.
Exactly. So we are going to start here with this cold frame and this beautiful lettuce and some kale here.
This is Mizuna, this is kale.
And Mizuna, this is like a spicy mustard green?
Spicy mustard green.
Yeah, I was trying it earlier. It's good.
This is sold as an ornamental.
Oh.
But I know it's an edible.
Okay.
And so it's tough as nails. It loves cold weather, and anything we're going to plant today loves cold weather.
Okay.
And so we're trying to extend the season, and in my case, I'm harvesting all winter long. So this is called a cold frame, and it's built out of rough cut cedar, which is naturally rot resistant. We wouldn't want to use treated wood, especially around vegetables. And this is an old skylight that I have on top. So anything translucent or transparent could be the lid. And it's just an unheated greenhouse out in the garden, banked at 35 degrees to pick up the winter sun. And it's one of my most reliable ways to grow things over the winter.
Okay.
Because it is just a little greenhouse. And I have compost in here, but since you brought some PittMoss
of course I had to bring you some PittMoss.
We'll put this on here, we'll water it in, and then we'll plant this good stuff. And I've got a ton of stuff for us to plant in other places. And you know me, I'm the cheapest gardener in the world. So built this thing, and if I can build this, anybody can build it.
I don't know. It sounds fancy like a cold frame, but you could do this yourself.
You could use an old window and 4 straw bales. That would be a cold frame too.
And this PittMoss is really, you got a big tree here, you were saying. Yeah. It sucks up all the water.
Exactly.
So this PittMoss is going to help retain that for your plants.
Right. And so anytime we plant with any kind of medium, we always get it wet first.
Okay.
All right. Let me get the hose out, and then we'll start the fun part, which is planting.
Alrighty.
Well, one of the reasons I love this stuff is it does use 2/3 less water. I've had all my containers filled with it, and this year that was a great thing with this big pine tree here.
Yeah.
It's going to suck up the water, and then I love that it's made from recycled paper products.
So it's a win-win.
Yep.
Can't go wrong.
You ready to plant?
Oh yeah.
You know what, Ashley, we need to get you a pair of overalls. You're dressed too nice for gardening.
Well, I got to rep my PittMoss shirt, so as long as the PittMoss logo stays outside the overalls.
I've had compost in here every year for probably 5-6 years, maybe longer now. And so the addition of the PittMoss is really going to help. And look at that. That's a perfect fit right there.
Yeah.
And these plants are just going to love it in here. I'm going to put some kale in the foreground. The other advantage of these things that we're using to protect is that the critters can't get to it either.
Okay.
I've had a serious issue. Well,
yes,
I have lots of serious issues, but I had a serious issue with deer and groundhogs, and so in the cold frame, these plants are going to be happier. They're going to stay safe.
One right here?
Yeah, that'll be perfect.
All right.
And we're going to water them in. Whenever we plant anything, remember, we water right away.
Yeah.
We don't want to go down and do all our other jobs and then come back.
And we watered when we prep the soil, and we water after we plant.
Get the plants off to a good start.
Gotcha.
Put it down in the corner, and you'll be good to go. And I've got lots of other different ways where you won't have to build a cold frame and still have your plants protected.
Beautiful.
Let's see if we close the top. Now
Voila.
every time the sun comes through there, it's going to warm this soil up. We'll be good to go. All right, I'm going to get some water on here, and then let's show a couple other cool ways to plant. Kale is one of the toughest cold weather plants. And the thing is, kale gets tastier after a frost.
Really?
Yep. The starches are converted into sugars. And so if you're not a big kale fan, plant some and wait till it gets cold, and then
it'll be a little sweeter.
Yeah. Saute it with garlic and butter and you'll be okay.
Yeah. And when it bolts, it's kind of pretty too.
Oh yeah, that's next year.
Yeah.
A couple other things that I'm using to protect plants.
Yeah.
These old 70s skylights, a friend gave them to me. You know, people are they know I'm looking for this sort of thing, and if you're creative, you can find these things. You know, I found some stuff at Construction Junction, which is a salvage place, but just look around. Like I said, old windows, anything you have that you can find that's translucent or transparent. And we've got some plants underneath here.
Okay.
Again, this corn mash or mache. I don't know how to say it. It's M-A-C-H-E.
Mache sounds fancier.
I think so too. It loves cold weather more than anything. It can freeze solid and reconstitute.
Oh, wow.
But it is going to it's going to thrive with a little extra here. And then what you're holding is called a floating row cover. It's spun-bound translucent fabric that's so lightweight you could put it on the plants themselves. And it also forms a greenhouse.
Okay.
And the other thing that I'm using is a couple things from the hardware store. Just a 3 mil drop cloth.
Okay.
That you would use like for painting.
Yeah.
And it makes a great greenhouse too.
Anyone can go grab those and they're cheap.
Yep.
Perfect.
Let's take a look. Well, you and I planted this Swiss chard together, but we'd planted some lettuce too, and the deer are actually reaching over.
I saw one when I was coming up this morning, so you got him everywhere.
I was chasing him around the woods all morning. Anyway, I had an epiphany when I saw this bed, and I have these little 11-gauge wire.
Yeah.
This is from the hardware store. They're already pre-cut, and I use them as hoops.
And did you bend them yourselves and just like stick them in and connect them?
Okay. I just kind of stuck them up there and put them in here. I used a staple gun and put the plastic on here. Here's our 3 mil drop cloth.
Yeah.
And we can just bring it over
so you get
and
the protection.
take it off when it's hot. And we've got some lettuce plants to put in here to replace the ones that we lost. But with this over top, now the deer can't get to them from the other side.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Fingers crossed. And what is this big thing I'm holding
That
here?
is another one of my finds at Construction Junction. That is a street light cover.
Okay,
They had them there, and you can vouch for how thick and heavy this thing is.
I went to pick it up. I was surprised.
This is another tool that I'm using to keep these plants happy all winter long. And that's a good way to do it, because when that heats up this dark compost, then the sun goes away, the compost releases the heat into this little mini greenhouse.
Beautiful. Really cool.
Fun.
Yeah.
All right, let's put some of these lettuce plants in the ground.
Sounds good.
I left my shovel over there, though.
I'll grab it.
Part of gardening is patience. We planted this once before. We have a little bit of our radishes left, but again, the deer got in here. This is another one of my season extenders. These were in a factory that were the lights. They redid their lights, and the guy, a friend of mine who's a garden friend, knows how cheap I am, and he said, would you like these? And I'm like, this is perfect. What we're going to do, we're going to put some more seeds down here, put this on top.
Perfect.
And this will heat up, and we'll have germination like that.
Wonderful. Well, that's what we're looking for.
Seed, water, and cover.
And protection from the deer, hopefully.
Hopefully. All right. Now, as usual, oh, you know what? How about this? This is a nice lettuce mix.
Okay.
Called a mesclun mix.
Oh, yeah.
They were absolutely free at Han Nursery. They had a whole packet of them. So, again, we're continuing our cheap theme. And all we're going to do is just kind of sprinkle them out here and kick them in and get some water on them and cover them up.
Perfect.
All right. That's it. Do this half of the bed. Well, there's a lot of seeds in there for free. and we'll just go do this. Now this bed is nice.
Yeah, it's a lot more moist than the other one.
All right, that's good. Water and cover.
Perfect. Easy peasy.
Yep. All right, and our cover. This is the first time I'm using these. I just got them.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Great.
Cover our radish there too.
Yeah, I gotta keep the one lone radish going.
I had some others over there.
Okay.
You don't need a garden to do this.
Yes.
You can do this in containers. Again, for some applications, containers are better because we can move them into a warmer location if we have to when it's cold.
That's right. They're transportable.
I want to add some PittMoss. So, again, you know, these containers have been used year after year. Every year I want to add something new, something good like this PittMoss Plentiful.
Yeah, and it's, again, with that water retention, it's great for containers.
You know what? That was a lifesaver for me this year.
Oh,
and I'm going to work in my PittMoss. We'll add water, and then we'll plant. And we're planting pansies, which are edible, with lettuce. And it's a really pretty lettuce.
I was shocked when he said that. Pansies are a good cold weather crop, and they're edible. Two things I did not think about pansies.
When you come to my house and you have a salad, it is a leap of faith because it's going to have pansies and nasturtiums in it. lettuce is called flashy troutback, and so it has this nice variegation to it. And one of the trends is planting really pretty vegetables with flowers together in containers.
Yep.
And so I love doing this. And as I said, since they're both edible, why not?
Heck
All right,
yeah.
we have to add some water before we get going here.
Okay.
That'll be good. Don't need a lot. And try and keep your lettuce in the middle and pansies to the edge. And this will
Sounds like a
go
plan.
minimum. This will go to Christmas.
Wow.
In some cases, all the way through. I'm going to start off with this fancy troutback lettuce in the middle, and then the edges I'll put in the
And the pretty pansies.
pansies.
A little bit of your thrill, fill, spill methodology.
Right, right. Well, it's not mine. I stole it from somebody, but.
All the same.
And again, these plants are nice looking.
Yeah.
Now, if we were to plant this in midsummer, they would be so unhappy. But they're going to love this weather, and especially the pansies. Everybody should plant pansies.
I would have never guessed that.
I've had them over winter, especially when we have an easy winter.
I can squeeze one
And
more in here.
anything that we're planting today out in the garden can go in a container. It's just getting the right size container for the right size plant.
Yeah.
And what we have here is good.
That's why I learned a lot this year is I was definitely going a little too small on my containers, especially for things like tomatoes and cucumbers that I was attempting to grow in containers and was somewhat successful.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
it could have been a lot better.
It turned out nice, though. Your garden looked great.
Yeah, it's getting there.
It's a learning curve, that's
It
for
really
sure.
is. Every year you get a little bit better, so watch out 5 years from now.
I think watch out next year for you.
Yeah.
Maybe even this year as we get these cold weather crops
Yeah.
in. We'll send some back with you, and you can fill your containers up with
Beautiful.
some cool stuff.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's the tomato season's dying down a bit.
Yeah, I don't have many left.
Yeah.
In the next upcoming weeks, we'll show how to put the garden to bed. All right, what do you think? That looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I really was able to
I'm
get a
going to
lot
be
in
having salads of pansies and lettuce all winter long.
here. Eating healthy. You got to eat healthy before your Thanksgiving and Christmas meals, right?
Exactly.
So you got to keep some salads going in there.
You know, that's another thing we got to show people too, is picking those last tomatoes and how to store them so that we can use them on Thanksgiving dinner. So we got a lot to talk about in the upcoming weeks.
We really do. So it sounds like coming up we're doing tomatoes. We're definitely going to do some garlic planting because October is the month to do
Definitely.
it. And some onion transplanting.
That's right. Don't stop. There's still plenty to do.
Never stop gardening. We'll see you next time.